Good morning. Welcome back to Coffee and Colorful Conversation. Happy Wednesday. So, today is going to be a little different of a coffee chat. I wanted to share something fun. It's funny, but it's not, about how we let clients treat us is up to us. I know people think that, woe is me, this happened to me. Can you believe this happened to me? And as someone who has done a lot of work on myself and learned about emotional intelligence and how we set ourselves up for success by the choices that we make, in one of the forums, one of the many forums that I follow, there was a post. I believe it was yesterday. It was either yesterday or the day before, and I took a screenshot of it. And I'm not gonna name any names or throw anybody under the bus, but what I've seen happening is people are using hair forums as their personal form of therapy. It's misery loves company, right? So when you share a story of something that happened to you, it gives you validation when people say, oh my gosh, girl, you deserve, to do XYZ. That's bullshit that happened to you. And it makes you feel temporarily better. When really, the people that are rallying around you are doing the same things, in my opinion, not the right way. And it becomes that misery loves company. It becomes like, oh my gosh, me too. It's the me too, me too, me too. And those are the people that when you spend too much time with them, you continue to say things are happening to you, not that you had any control over them. So let me share the example. So the story was, there was a photo from a security camera of a client who ran out on her hair bill. It was a 5 hour service. She was a blonde. So she sat and had a major corrective color service and then said, oh, let me go to the restroom. Went to the restroom, took her purse with her, came out of the restroom and left the salon. So the stylist was freaking out on her post, saying, what can I do? She gave me fake information. I don't know how to get this money. I'm out 5 hours of my time. So I get it. That totally stinks. But what I want to know is, how did that happen? How could you have a 5 hour service on your book and not have any credit card on file, not get at least a 50% deposit? So these are choices. And, I may do this coffee chat and people might come back and say, well, client won't give me their card, or that's ridiculous. They shouldn't have to pay money before they come. I had an appointment recently at a doctor office and it was for a consultation. And they said, we need your credit card. We're going to charge you $100 for the consultation. And if you go through with having this procedure done, it goes towards the price of your procedure. There's no reason that hairstylists can't do the same thing. With all of the modern technology and the software that we now have in our salons, we have the ability to charge 50% of that service on the day that it's booked. And then when they come in, we credit that 50% towards the rest of the service. So if that had happened, that story with that 5 hour service, at the minimum, she would have gotten 50% of the work that she put into that head. If she never sees the other 50%, that happens, right? But instead of being out $500, she would be out $250. So it's a choice. It's a choice to put systems in place. It's a choice to respect yourself enough to guarantee that your time is paid for, whether that client comes or not. Having a no-show policy, having a cancellation policy, having a corrective color contract in place. These are all the things that I teach in my membership, the Hair Color Secrets Insider, how to set up those contracts, how to perform a virtual consultation and get the credit card, reserve that client's spot with the credit card so that they then respect your time. If they know that they need to cancel, they will cancel, as I did for that consultation. I canceled within the window that I wasn't going to get charged that $100 because I changed my mind. I chickened out. So This is what doctors do. This is what lawyers do. This is what all professionals do. Why are we any different? Sorry, construction as usual. Why are we any different? We're different because we choose to not step up and create that space for ourselves. So I wanted to share to keep this light and fun and not be Miss Bossy Pants during this coffee chat and make everyone feel bad about their, not using systems. Someone shared in the Me Too crowd of this post. She said, "This happened to me before. The girl told me she left her card in her car and never came back." And it's happened to all of us at least once. Unfortunately for her, she told me where she planned to go out that night. And I showed up and was later arrested for assault with a deadly weapon because I brought scissors to the club and cut her ponytail off. So we can laugh about that, but you can't walk up to someone in a club and cut their ponytail off, even when they, stole money from you. This isn't the Stone Age. It's not an eye for an eye, and the world doesn't work that way. So that's funny that she took that approach. But now she has a criminal record because she cut the girl's ponytail off. It made her feel good that second, like, oh, bitch, I'm cutting that hair off that I colored. But the truth of the matter is, she still didn't get her money. Now she has a record. Now if she goes to get another job, she has an assault charge on her record. And all she needed to do was simply have a thing in place where that guest had to pay 50% deposit up front for that visit. Now, I'm not telling you to do this for every kid's cut, every bang trim, every wax. Let's not get crazy. This is when you know that you've blocked off a few hours of your time. I always say anything 2 hours or more, get that deposit, because that's a lot of your time that you cannot get back. And truth be told, clients aren't doing it on purpose, most of them. That girl was doing it on purpose. She had full intentions of stealing that hair color. But most people, life gets in the way, a kid gets sick, something comes up, they completely forget. They're not malicious about it, but they truly, I believe, don't realize that we only get paid when we do hair. I think they think that we're salaried employees the way that they probably are. They probably work either in an office or at a company where if they take off and they're sick, they still get paid money for that day. It's a sick day. So I think that's part of it. But the other thing that was in that article was people blaming, once the girl cut out on the bill, then it became she's on drugs, her hair didn't lighten evenly. So somebody was writing back saying, stop blaming drugs, stop blaming the weather blew, the wind blew the wrong way that day, stop coming up with excuses. The truth is, we were taught to understand the fiber that is hair, to understand cuticle, cortex, medulla, all those things. But let's face it, guys, on a daily basis in the salon, are you really thinking cuticle, cortex, medulla? You're thinking, you look at the clock, you're like, crap, I got to get a full head of highlights in here and get her to be in the chair getting a haircut within an hour. So let's just get this stuff mixed up and get started. So most of us are not taking the time to do a Malibu crystal gel treatment to get all those minerals off the hair. We're not taking the time to do pre-treatments and getting that hair super healthy before we then go in and, do some damage with our harsh chemicals. So it's all a combination of everything. But my title for this coffee chat was, is your time behind the chair a hobby or a business? And only you can make that differentiation. So that girl was really fired up about losing out on that 5 hours because it was a stranger that booked her time and took her time with her and got something and didn't pay for it. But think about how much friend and family hair you're doing on your regular scheduled time. I'm not saying don't take care of family. That's not what I'm saying. But when family needs their hair done and you're taking your bookable, billable hours in the salon for family want that Pinterest worthy lived in highlight that takes 2.5 to 4 hours. Family want a haircut every 6 weeks. And most family wants it in the evening after they come home from work, which in most salons, that's your prime time. So I'm not saying don't do family. I'm saying if you're running a business And it's not just, oh, I love doing hair, this is fun. Like for me right now, when I get to do hair, I love getting to do hair because I do it for teaching purposes. I am not paying my bills with physical hair that I'm doing. When I do hair, it's let me grab my camera, let me turn this into a teachable moment. So I really enjoy doing it now. When I was doing it and had to live off of it and support an entire family off of it, I couldn't do family on my bookable time. I would go in on a Sunday and do their hair. I would go in on a Saturday because I don't work Saturdays. So being strategic and really honoring your time behind the chair is what turns it from a hobby into a business. So it pains me in 2021 to see the national averages of a hairstylist still coming in at under $40,000 a year. It is so easy to make more than that if you set the boundary and respect your time. You, not your client, not your mom, not your sister. You need to respect your time behind the chair and treat it as a business. When you do someone at no charge, it's, your cousin's husband, whatever, whoever is in your chair that you're like, oh, I can't charge them because they're family. When they're in your chair on Tuesday at 6 o'clock and you take 2 hours with them, every 5 to 6 weeks after that Tuesday night at that time, you are going to have space in your book because your clients pre-book. If you're doing a good job at pre-booking and you're making sure that you keep clients coming back, you're going to throw off that cycle where you lost that income Tuesday at 5 o'clock. Now, 5 weeks later, you're going to have a dead spot there. 5 weeks after that, a dead spot there. We experienced that in my salon with wedding parties. We would, basically close the whole salon for a wedding party, and we would be doing all of these out of town bridesmaids that we've never met before. And let's not even get into how difficult they can be because we don't know them. We don't know that they hate their bangs swept to the side. We don't know that they hate when they have their hair teased and they see those little spiders sticking up from the teasing. We don't know their personality. So we do the best that we can in what we think would look good on them. And they're not real vocal. You just kind of make those constipated faces in the mirror where you didn't hit a home run and then you feel bad about it. But what's worse is little Cindy hairy eyeball that's giving you the hairy lip. She's leaving you forever. She lived in Kansas and she was in town for her cousin's wedding. So now she disrupted your reoccurrence of that time frame every 5 to 6 weeks for the rest of the year. So not only did you suffer through her the day of and have to deal with her little attitude, but she disrupted your flow of business and cost you way more than that time that you spent with her. So be selective of who is in your chair. Be smart about planning out the time of free hair. There's nothing wrong with, I want to, do this hair because I want to take really amazing photos and it's busy in the salon and I can never get a good before and after. Schedule that into your life on your day off and do the pictures, do the before and afters, give her cool wardrobe, do cool backgrounds, do all of those things, but do it on your day off. And don't go into bars and chop off anybody's ponytail anytime soon. You can't do an eye for an eye, and let's face it, we've all had that happen where someone wrote us a bad check. Back in the day, I opened my salon when I was 22 years old and we didn't take credit cards back then. I probably didn't even have a credit card of my own back then. I was so young, but we took checks, and most times the check went into the bank and it cleared and it was fine. And about 3 times a year I would get a bad check and it was always a nice big one. They always splurged when they knew they were writing a bad check. They would get, oh, let me get my eyebrows waxed while I'm here. Oh, that conditioning treatment, absolutely add that on. And they're all flush and you're like, woohoo, big ticket. Then you get this big check until it bounces like a rubber ball. And then people say, go to your police station. That was part of this post too. They're like, go to the police. You should have taken a strand of her hair and you could have had the DNA. If you could have seen the answers to this post. Guys, this is not CSI. This is a hair salon. And if you would have set up those systems and had that deposit, you wouldn't have to get on social media and rally the Me Too's around you to make you feel better about that, and to go and find a strand of her hair on your comb and take it to. Do you think, with all of the crimes in this world today, that a detective is going to take you seriously when you go in with a strand of hair from someone who ran out on their bill and say, please check this DNA, I want this girl arrested for stolen hair? They're letting people go. We have family who are in law enforcement, and they have said that it's so bad right now with everything going on that they're told to just come home alive, that look the other way, don't arrest people for XYZ. Like, they have bigger fish to fry than the lady with the DNA on her hair strand that you think is on drugs because her hair didn't lighten evenly. So, we can laugh about it, but this is the reality of what we deal with in salon situations. But again, it goes back to how you allow people to treat you is what they're going to do on a regular basis. So I have my setup a little odd today, so I'm not seeing your comments. I don't have my usual background. I'm all discombobulated. We have a man up in the attic right now with a drill behind me, so not sure if you could hear that, but I do want to check in to see if there's any comments. This takes forever to load. How's everybody's Wednesday? I hope you're having a great week. The weather here is spectacular. I plan to work all day and then take my walk on the beach around 5 o'clock when it's a little cooler. Sorry, I don't know why this is taking so long. So it looks like just good morning, good morning. Great idea. I've heard this for a wedding party. Amazing tips. Okay, it doesn't look like there's any questions, just people saying hello. So with corrective color, I highly, highly recommend, where did I go? I highly recommend doing, if not an in-person consultation, a virtual consultation. Look at the situation as best you can virtually. It's so easy now, guys. If you have an iPhone, you can get the person's phone number, you can FaceTime with them. You don't need any fancy equipment like the stuff that I have to use for teaching online. You can simply hold your phone up, you can look at them in your phone, look at their hair, have them come up close. Like, I could come in closer and show you what my regrowth looks like. I can show you my ends. You can pretty much see the condition that the person's hair is in. So taking the time to do that ahead of time, you'll know, number one, how long you need with them. Number two, this is my other pet peeve. This could make this coffee chat go super long if I really get into it. But as an educator, I'm an independent hair color educator. I don't work for a brand. My color dispensary in my salon is like you would be a kid in a candy store. There's so many cool things because I believe, my own personal opinion is, no one hair color manufacturer can give me everything that I need. I've been doing this 35 years, maybe even a little bit longer, probably 35 and a half years now, and I have found certain products that work best for me in certain situations. So I am what is lovingly called by a distributor representative a cherry picker. They hate it because they, of course, want all of my business. One manufacturer wants all of my business. And then, of course, you get fun points and prizes. You get the cape with their name on it as your cool prize for spending $200,000. I won't even get into that. But different hair color does different things, and you have to have everything that you need. I cannot tell you how many times a member of my Hair Color Secrets Insider membership will post a photograph and they'll say, this is my client, she's coming in today. So they're asking me maybe an hour before they come in. She's coming in today, this is what she has, this is what she wants, what do I do? To which I say, I will walk them through, but I want them to get to the answer on their own. So I had a one-on-one yesterday with one of my members, and she said, I'm really struggling with formulation. Can you help me? And I said, absolutely. And we walked through a scenario, and she said, well, I didn't have that in stock that day, so I used this. So let me pause here to make sure that you heard that. I'm going to take some coffee. oh, I didn't have that color, so I used this. So in the scenario, she needed a blue-based demi-permanent liquid color, to which I said, do you have 6NA? In Redken Shades EQ, 6NA is a lot of blue. Even though it says NA, it's blue. So she said, no, I didn't have that, but I did have 6WG. I'm like, okay, well, 6NA and 6WG, it sounds like just a bunch of letters. And I think that people are crisscrossing and replacing things with things that are not the same through sheer lack of understanding. It's like, oh, it's a 6. I can use this instead of this, but you can't. It's kind of like if someone said, you go to a wedding and there's a choice of chicken or fish, and you ordered the fish because you don't eat chicken, you're allergic to chicken or whatever. And the person next to you is like, oh, if you put this powdered, special pepper on your fish or on your chicken, it'll turn it into fish. Like, you can't exchange a WG for an NA. It just isn't going to do the same thing. So what really, really breaks my heart is how many people are 30 years into the industry and they're substituting and replacing things that are not appropriate to the situation. It's best to say to the guest, I'm looking at your hair. I see a lot of warmth that we both agree you don't want to see. In order to counteract that warmth, I need a strong blue-based color. Actually, you know what? Screw that. You don't even have to tell her any of that. I'm giving bad advice. Don't tell her any of that. You say to her, unfortunately, I'm a little short on stock and I don't have the appropriate tone that I need to complete this service. So I'm going to have you come back tomorrow and I'm going to go get it. Instead of, oh, I used WG and why didn't it turn out when I needed NA? So you need to understand the tools that you're working with, and you can't create things out of the clear blue sky. So what really makes me nervous is with the suite model, I see a trend of people in solo suites looking at their book, seeing, oh, Jill's coming in tomorrow. Jill is 5N and 6RB. So they go to the store on their way in and they assume that 5N and 6RB is going to be on the shelf because you know that after COVID, not everything is stocked right now. Everything is behind and back ordered. And a lot of things are being discontinued. That's a whole other coffee chat. 2 products that we use regularly, that's for a special service that we do in the salon, have just become discontinued. And everything that could possibly be a replacement for it is also being discontinued. And apparently there's a lawsuit. So God only, I'm amazed that I'm still breathing with all the bad chemicals that I've used in my life that have become discontinued for health reasons. So that's very scary. So as a suite owner, your responsibility is to have on hand every single thing. And you could say, well, I can't afford that. Well, then guess what? You can't afford to be a suite owner. If you only have 6 tubes of color or bottles of color in your dispensary at any given time, you had no business being a business owner. You need to go back and be a commission employee that's depending on a salon owner to provide your products for you. You cannot be a colorist with 6 tubes of color. That's not a colorist. That's a hairdresser who's playing colorist, who's pulling a tube and, doing a sign of the cross and then making excuses of, oh, you know what, that turned out really warm because you're on that blood pressure medication. You start to use against your clients the things that they shared with you about their health, that they're on a certain medication, and then you use that as an excuse and as a crutch. And that is not okay because that's not the reason. The reason is you were like, yes, I want to go into a suite. I want all the money, which if you're new in a suite and you're 6 months in, you probably realize by now you're not keeping all of the money and you have taxes due, and this hair color that you don't have enough of is expensive, which is why you don't have enough of it. And let's not even get into pricing. Everyone is still posting on forums. How much do y'all charge for a partial highlight? How much do y'all charge for a haircut? Betty Lou in, the middle of the country in a small little town with tumbleweed going down the road where there's population 2,000, and Tracy Cunningham in Beverly Hills, California, who's doing celebrities. I hope there's a little bit of a difference in pricing, but there should also be a difference in Betty Lou's rent, in her, trash removal, her insurance on her salon. So it's never, guys, apples to apples. Don't look at what Elaine is doing and make your prices what Elaine's doing. Elaine is in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania tax structure is different. What is her personal tax structure? What does she have going on? Does she own the building? Does she rent the building? Does she share space with someone else? There are so many factors, but when you're paying $10 for a bottle or tube of color and you're charging $25 for a retouch, you are a hobby. You are a nonprofit organization. There is zero possibility of you making profit if you're paying $10 for a product and you're charging $25 for that service, especially if you're including the blow dry with that retouch. You're taking all of that time for $25 when $10 right off the bat is gone. You're down to $15. And if you're taking 2 hours and you're only keeping you're not keeping, because out of that $15 comes your rent, your internet bill, your phone bill, your workman's compensation, your insurance on the salon, your matching taxes, your credit card fees. How much do you think is left of that $15 with all the things that I just named? And you worked for 2 hours. So you're working on a service provider in a restaurant, those $2 and whatever cents wages. And that's why the average income of a hairstylist is still coming in at $35,000 to maybe $40,000 a year when it's simply not necessary. And, clients need to understand that what we do is important. I think that COVID showed everyone how necessary getting their hair done was, how bad they felt about themselves when they couldn't get their hair done during COVID. So clients are getting it. They understand. They may have gone to the grocery store and picked up a box of color, and maybe that color cost them $10. And they're like, oh, winning. I covered my gray for $10. But then they look around the room and 3 nice fluffy towels that were their beautiful white bath towels now have stains all over them. There may be a stain on their tile floor in their bathroom that won't come up because they didn't realize that shit sticks wherever it goes. We're like on our hands and knees at the end of the day in the salon getting all the stains off of the floor. Well, I was anyway. I'm crazy about that. So they realize that it is worth seeing a professional. I had to do my retouch last time because I couldn't get to my girl and she was away and she was booked, and I missed this whole back section. This is the part that drives me the most crazy with my gray, and I missed that whole section. And I've been coloring hair for 35 years. I don't get how any woman would do this on purpose, want to try to attempt to do the back of their hair to save money. I would rather go without a meal one day or go without something else other than somebody doing my hair for me. It is definitely a pleasure to sit and have somebody else do it. Let's not even talk about shampooing the color out in the shower. I have white tile, I have highlights, so I'm trying to, get the color off of the regrowth without it muddying my blonde ends, without it getting on my white tile or my white shower curtain or my white towel. And I am a trained professional who also teaches other professionals, and I struggle. So there's always going to be the Madison Reed, there's always going to be the, Preference by L'Oreal. There's always going to be that market. But if you are providing professional service and you are in this for an income to support yourself and you want to make great money, you have to start treating your time behind the chair like an official business. Getting those credit card deposits, getting people to sign off on a corrective color contract. When someone comes in with some of these pictures that I see on social media of the disasters, there was a really good one the other day. Where's she? It was horrific. I saved the picture. It's probably on my computer. Here's one. So this one sits in your chair and says, you know, she booked online and she made an appointment for a retouch. So she sits in your chair. She's got pink, she's got orange, she's got dark roots, she's got blonde. She's got a whole lot going on. But shame on you for letting her book either through a text with you, which I see that a lot in the solo proprietor. Oh, just text me. You cannot know from a text what you're dealing with. There's no way you had enough time for her. There's no way you quote, like she says, oh, my roots are in. That's how the client describes that picture. And you say, oh, okay, root retouch. I'll see you, you know, Friday at 2 o'clock. Nice to meet you. Can't wait to see you, whatever. She walks in with that. And then we try to hero. We try to fit it all in. And we say, well, let me just get her roots lighter and let me like try to cover that pink up. And then we create a bigger correction and a bigger disaster because we overshot what we could possibly do in any given time. So be realistic, under promise and over deliver. Don't over promise and under deliver, and have that written contract. June 2nd, Lisa came to me with this photograph. Take a picture that's dated on your phone of what she came in with. Client wants this, you know, inspiration picture. Staple the inspiration picture to the contract of her now, of the after that she wants. Describe what you're going to do, how many visits it's going to take, how long it's going to take, you know, do a test strand, whatever you need to do, but have it all in writing. We completely did away with all redos. We call them adjustments, redos, whatever you call them. We completely did away with those when we started doing these corrective color contracts, because the client can no longer say, you said it would all be done today for $100. They can't say that anymore because it's in writing. I write it, she signs it, we both agree on it, and she's never going to argue with it and try to steal the free color that she really was trying to weasel out of you. So this was a long one in spite of my construction in the background. So thanks for listening to my rant. And Nebo says, squirrel here, what got discontinued? So we use the ISO Mane Tamer for a special service in the salon where if a client has a funky cowlick or just needs spot reduction of curl and frizz, we would use ISO Mane Tamer. So that was discontinued. So I said, oh, we used to use a product from Davines for that. So I told my daughter, get the Davines product. Go on the Davines website, the Davines is discontinued. Oh, Rusk has one that's similar. Call my friend from Rusk. What's the story on this? That's discontinued. So all three options of the same type of product have been discontinued. So I am at a loss for replacing it. I'm still looking, but it's upsetting. They discontinued my lip sunscreen that has kept me out of cold sores for the past year. I have to protect my lips at all times in the sun. I live in Florida. That's discontinued. It's Shiseido. It's amazing. It's a little blue, looks like a lipstick that I put on every single day, multiple times a day. Discontinued. So I am the queen of products that get discontinued. So if you ever want something to get discontinued, make me fall in love with it and it will get discontinued. So thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your week. We're coming into summer now. We have sunshine. Hopefully you'll be able to get outdoors more. Hopefully we're at the end of the road with all of the masks and all of the discomfort. But treat your time behind a chair as a business. I want to see you soar. I want to see you have the results that some of my members are seeing, where they're doubling, sometimes tripling their paycheck by respecting their time and respecting themselves and really taking charge of their color careers. Thanks for watching.